A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday night. It's GT3s making its return, courtesy of Season 8 of Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3. You join us on the JP Broadcasting Network for the first of 8 rounds here for Season 8, joining myself, Alex Goldschmidt and James Parfitt, and we are starting here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. We're going to be going all the way through till the 20th of October. And, well, we haven't got any scores to really talk about, but let's have a chat with Mr. Parfitt himself. JP, good evening. How are you, buddy? It's good to be back.
It is
here on
good to
Monday
be
night.
back, mate. I'm looking forward to this. Season 8, Round 1 and over. Now, one of the interesting things we've got to talk about is we've got mixed formats. As we know, during the recruitment race, young sir, me and you were here for slogging it out for 2 hours of 90-minute races, but they've decided that we're only going to do five? No. Five? One,
yes,
two,
5. Yes.
5 60 minutes and 3 90-minute races. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, as well. 60 minutes, we're going to be here. Then we're going to be at Okayama. They're going to be spinning around like Kylie Minogue in a video. Then we're going to go Red Bull Ring again. Le Mans 24-hour will be 90. Barcelona will be 60. Indy will be 90. And Hockenheim will be 60. Road Atlanta will be 90 as well, if I didn't already. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, mate. It's going to be an interesting one. We're just into qualifying now. Solo closed quali. So, basically, you drive around on your own. And, yeah, it's going to be exciting, I think.
Yeah. So, for those wondering about the respective classifications for the Pro and the AMS, Pros are an I rating of 1700 and above. AMS rating below 1700. The maximum I rating allowed in the championship is 4000. So, if there's anybody that decides to make a resurgence here in Season 8, including our Season 7 champion, they will be put into the elite category as a guest driver, so will not compete for championship points. Of course, 15-minute close qualifying per race evening, 70 minutes of practice, 8 races per season, including 1 dropped round, 60% maximum fuel allowance, open setups, and 1 fast repair only. A penalty every 20x, which means that'll be the trundle of shame down the pit lane, aka a drive-through penalty. And also, we have got a plethora of machinery from McLaren, Mercedes, BMW, Ford, Lamborghini, Porsche. The good old Corvette makes a return. We did see the recruitment races, JP, that there was effectively what we called the Mercedes GT3 Cup, which was a bit of a running gag all the way through. But we've had a lot more changes since then, because it's looking like that Mercedes and McLaren are very much even Stevens on numbers. We've got 3 Fords, we've got 1 Lamborghini, 4 Porsches, 3 Mustangs, 2 Corvettes. So a nice bit of variety, as they say, is the spice of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's going to make it interesting for me and you. You know, because I don't know if it is going to be a matriarchy of Mercedes at the front. You know, you can see at the moment they are, but Hayden Young's in the McLaren. You know, I wish he would take the McLaren in another league that he does where he drives a Porsche and then moans about it. So, you know, and Hayden Young's philosophy when I spoke to him on Sunday was, the Porsche isn't going so well. I said, okay, so why don't you change your car? He went, no, I went and bought a new steering wheel. I said, all right, so you'd rather spend £500 rather than $14.99? He went, well, it was a little bit more than that. I was like, dude, like most people just change the car. You know what I mean? Not buy a whole new steering wheel, which is what he has done.
Well, as we say that, Tim Cullimore in the number 42, in that wonderfully Castrol liveried car that we saw, we first caught eyes on the first of the 4 recruitment races that we had in the build-up here to Season 8. And Tim Cullimore, currently rounding out the top 8 at the moment, has just gone across the line. 1:55.164. We got 10 seconds on the timer. So at the moment, Hayden Young leading the way by nearly a whopping 0.6 of a second ahead of the 177 DC Motorsport Mercedes. Peter Duke, Andy White, and Harry Hartley Price round out the top 3. Wayne Douglas 5th. Martin Kenyon in the number 48 Lamborghini rounds is actually our AM pole sitter, as we are going into the 5-minute warm-up. But I'm really, really pleased to see that we've actually got quite a big contingent of AMs. I mean, we can have a maximum of 20 drivers per division. So at most at this point during the season, we will see possibly a 40-car capacity grid. Good to see Senna and our good friend from Scotland, Mr. Jared Love, saying good luck, Peter and Wayne. So that's Wayne Douglas and Peter Duke. Jared Love has mentioned to us in one of the post-race interview shows on the recruitment races that he will be coming back on the odd occasion, because we saw him in the Mustang for a couple of seasons. Then he rejoined for the recruitment races and ended up in the Merc. But I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how the field does on this early stage of this. And obviously when we get to Le Mans on the 29th of September, that'll be the second half of the season. And of course, that's when we could really get an idea of the pecking order of who's going to be challenging for the respective Pro and the AM titles.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I'm not too worried right now. All I want to see is people enjoying themselves, getting points on the board, and having fun in the process. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And I think for these people, that's the most important thing. You have to get points on the board because they are long races. Now, theoretically, your drop round should be one of the endurance rounds, but it doesn't always work out like that. You might have an awful 60-minute where you finish 15th, and all your others are, all your other races, you're in the top 10. So, there's a lot to be coming into here, and I think this is going to be very, very interesting to see how they get on, and looking forward to it.
Oh, and Jared's just popped back into chat. He said, I won't be for now. Not for discussing via YouTube chat, though. Okay, right. Well, I'll have to DM him a little bit later on Discord to find out. But,
I'm sure he'll drop us one. Won't you, Jared? You'll drop us both a wonderful DM. Gonna go with it.
Yes, exactly. So, just through the warm-up phases, of course, the temperature at the moment, 32.2 degrees track temperature. 20 degrees air, cloudy around the circuit. Of course, the Eifel region known for, at the drop of a hat, potentially bringing rain into the equation. Whether that is going to happen tonight is another matter entirely. But yeah, I mean, it's a very, very, how can I say it? A very, very mixed bag of tracks that we got. When we got Le Mans, which is basically 8.5 miles. To Okayama, which is about 2.6 miles, is going to be one of the, I think probably by my approximation, that's going to be the shortest circuit on the calendar, and that's going to be an absolute free for 60 minutes next week for round 2. So it's just about getting a good start to the beginning of the season here at the Nurburgring. I mean, it's a circuit that's been around in this configuration from 1984, of course. It's known as part of the of the Nordschleife itself, which measures a hell of a lot more than 5.1 kilometers. It measures about 5 times that. But at least these guys don't have to worry about mesmerising the best part of 175 corners. They've only got 15 to deal with here tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this is the thing with Nords. When you combine it all together, I think the last count was, I'm sure the count was completely wrong, to be honest, but I'm not going to question it because I'm not going to go round counting every single corner that I would classify as a corner. They're saying it's 154 corners just for Nords, but it's 174 when you combine everything together. Now, I find that very hard to believe that this track is 20 corners. So I think somebody somewhere has got a little bit of maths completely wrong. Don't get me wrong, I'm not great at maths, but I think the maths ain't mathing. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, so they say it's 174 corners with everything combined, but it's just 154 with Nords. But then again, there are some questionable corners on Nords that they call corners. It's like the Road America and the Americans numbering. You know what I mean? It goes a little bit Pete Tong at times. So I think that I'm probably glad that they're not doing all of them. I don't know if the drivers will be glad, because I do know that some drivers do like Nords. And I don't mind Nords. I hate this section. I hate the stadium. I hate the Grand Prix layout. But I love Nords. And because partly due to the fact, Alex, I suck in this part of the section where I'm pretty good at the green hell itself.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, it is now about time to get under starters' orders with our first race of Season 8. It's the opening 60-minute round, and Hayden Young's going to lead it from pole position in the number 4 McLaren. Peter Duke in the 177 Mercedes will be on the outside of the front row. Then it's an all Clarkson James Motorsport Row 2. Andy White and Harry Hartley-Price side by side, followed by Wayne Douglas, and Mr. Fresh Rubber himself, Sam Berry, makes a return in the 129. He's going to be going in the BMW this season. Adam Hansen and in the Mustang and Tim Cullen on the Mercedes round out the top 4 rows. Martin Kenyon, the leading AM in qualifying in the Lamborghini Huracan, will be joined by Craig Corish in the stalwart, and back again he goes into the Porsche. Scott Kostrick and Quinton Klumpert, a new addition. The latter round out those top 6 rows. Sean Clark and Mark Wesley, Harry Seven and Christopher Haynes, Joel Loudon, James Moore, our Season 7 AM champion, rounds out the top 9 rows with Gareth Newton and the Pride of Wales. Paul West rounds out the top 20. Then we've got Norway's Sindre Johansson back in the Stang for Season 8. Simon Nelthorpe, James Vardigans in the Corvette, and Mark Ozier rounding out 24 strong grid. Now, we do know that the same car must be used all season unless iRacing decide to introduce a new GT3 car in the Season 4 release. Then, if people want to swap to that vehicle, they can. There will be no penalty given to those drivers as a direct consequence. James Vardigans, however, will not be starting on the inside of the final row of the grid, as the Mustang pace car will lead the field through the Vidal chicane here at turns 13 and 14. Then we go into Coca-Cola corner at turn number 15. So it is McLaren and Mercedes on the front row of the grid. We are set and ready for our first of 5 60-minute races. And it's going to be down to Hayden Young and Peter Duke to get things going. And Hayden Young has bolted already coming out of the final corner. Wait for the red lights to go on at the gantry. Red lights are on, and Season 8 here is ready to go racing. We're green, we're underway, and Young has got a bolt of a start, 7/8 tenths of a second, heading into the Castrol S for the first time, and it's side by side. Harry Hartley-Price through on teammate Andy White for P3 as they go into the Mercedes AMG Arena, and Hartley-Price takes a tighter line. White trying to carry the speed round the outside of turn number 3 and trying to look to line up going through into turn 4. And then it's the run down through in towards 5 and then into turn 6 at Ford. But Hayden Young, we've not even completed the opening lap, and he is 1 second up the road as Wayne Douglas trying to put the frighteners on Andy White. Fresh Rubber Sam Berry in the BMW right on their tail as they come out of turn 6, and it's the sweeping parabolica corner through into Dunlop here at turn 7. There's a lot of adverse camber here to the right-hand side when you turn in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. They've got to make sure they can get out. But Hayden Young, with his new steering wheel and his new car choice, pulling away out the front. I bet he wishes he does that in other series. Peter Duke sitting in second. He's opened up 1.29 seconds. Sam Berry currently having a go at Wayne Douglas, who joined literally before we went green, which nice of him as well. Martin Kenyon has just got himself a slowdown, but these guys side by side currently in through Michelin, coming in through Vastana now on the run up to Ad Van Bogan, and Sam Berry's had a bit of a blink. He's going to bring everybody else in behind him as well. It's a queue right the way down to Mark Wesley, who is last in this pack in that McLaren, and he's joined on with Scott Kostrick as well. So lots of action taking shape once again here. As always, we expect it, even right the way down. And Chris Haynes is having a nice little ding-dong. He's got James Moore, Sean Clark and Gareth Newton in behind him. And there's a lot of action, a lot of packs developing. Now, we've talked about this before with the Clarkson James Motorsport boys. Are they going to fight or are they going to play follow my leader?
Well, in the early stage of the season, probably follow my leader just to get some points and good consistency on the board. But when it goes to the second half of the season, I would imagine, well, Tim Cullimmore's just got to slow down. So has Quinton Klumpert, the man from the Netherlands in the Mustang, second in the AM classification, and has just dropped behind Scotty Kostrick in the number 01 McLaren. Now takes second in the AM classification. There is Klumpert. He's got Mark Wesley in the number 88 McLaren, not too far behind him. Top 5 in AM, 3 of them are McLarens. 2nd, 4th and 5th, Chris Hayes, who we've seen for a number of seasons in Roxy, now switches to McLaren for season number 8. And he's currently sitting in 16th position, which is exactly where he qualified. Quinten Klumpert from the Netherlands in the number 47. You can see the LED tail lights lighting up as he breaks into turn 7 at Dunlop. Up the hill they go, through into the Michael Schumacher S's.
Oh, look at that. Slowdowns all up front 4.
Oh, dearie me.
All across the front 4. Sam Berry, have some, son. Pick it off.
Well, he got a slowdown as well at the same time.
Oh, man.
And Sam Berry's going to get another slowdown. Sindre Johansson's got one as well. So that's been one of the... that is a big, big early drama for a lot of drivers. So Young, Duke, Hartley-Price, White and Berry all got a smackdown slowdown penalty at exactly the same time. And then insult to injury for Sam Berry because he got another one thrown at him straight afterwards as well. Yeah. So it's not going to be easy for these drivers. They've got to watch these track limits here at the Nurburgring because it is not a track that you want to meddle with.
No, it just shows that. Do you know the only fortunate thing for the front 4 is they all got the slowdown. As you can see, the Mustang there just about having a go. Quinten Klumpert with Scotty Kostrick side by side at the moment. And the inside Kostrick in that McLaren. Klumpert trying to come around the outside of the Mustang. Is he going to be able to hold it in through the left-hander now? Then we've got a right coming down at the end. He cannot close the door. He knows that that Mustang is there. He can't close the door at the moment. Can't Kostrick, and loses that place away. But the only good thing about the front 4 getting the slowdown is they all got it at the same time. So nobody gained any great positions.
It was actually the top 5 at the same time, but Quinten Klumpert from the Netherlands doing a great job battling side by side with Scotty Kostrick for what is effectively 2nd in the AM classification at the moment. Martin Kenyon has got another couple of cars between himself and the man from the Netherlands. So between him he's got Tim Cullimore and Craig Corish, who are rounding out the top 10 overall. Don't Knock just come in, says green, green, green. Samantha Hopkins says, good luck, Andy. That will be Andy White. Currently sitting in P4 in the number 86, Clark St. James Motorsport, Mercedes AMG GT3. Gareth Newton in the 24 Porsche, running at the top 19, has just been given a slowdown penalty as well. So we are into the first 5.5 minutes being completed here at the opening round of season number 8. Now, we've got to start talking about this at this point. We saw, James, that as we see this battle here with Sean Clark battling away with Chris Haynes, and right behind him you've got Grello, which is in the form of Nelthorpe in the 112 Porsche. The pit stops are going to be something quite crucial because for the 60 minutes, you're looking at probably a stop around about halfway through the race. When we come to the 90-minute endurance rounds at Road Atlanta at round 3, Le Mans round 5, and Indianapolis at round 7, we saw at the recruitment races it was a 2-stop strategy, unless you got a potential safety car. But here in these 60-minute enduros, 60-minute races, they can push that little bit harder. But it is going to be the case of who can stretch that fuel window as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. They've got to manage that situation as well. The last thing you want to get done for is get caught on a thinking splash and dash right at the end. He ain't going to do you any favors. You want to stay away from that here as well. So, you want to be careful on that. Melanie, that's awesome. Keep going, Hayden. You're doing really well.
I like that. Right, here we go. Nelthorpe up the inside of Clark through into Dunlop. And that's a good move. Sean didn't really fight it that much. But when you're only just under 10 minutes into this opening race of the season, as Kostrick and Seven both get a slowdown penalty at the same time. So that now allows Quinten Klumpert from the Netherlands in the number 47 Mustang to keep a hold of that second place in the AM class, 11th overall. He's 1.5 seconds ahead of Scotty Kostrick. And There you see Mark Wesley in the number 88. He's trying to close in on Harry 7 in the 123, who's right with Scott Kostrick as they go through into the chicane, now into Coca-Cola corner. So this is a really, really good battle for the final step on the rostrum at this early stage of the race for P3 in the AM class. So Kostrick, 7 and Wesley battling over 12th.
Yeah, they're having a nice little ding-dong a little bit further down as well. Kenyon's under, I don't know if Kenyon's under attack. He's actually attacking Hanson. This is an AM and a pro, of course, having a nice little ding-dong further down. Harry 7 and Mark Wesley, that just happened as we cut away going into turn number 1, of course. And now at this moment in time, it's a McLaren, well, it's 3rd, 4th and 5th in AMs at this moment as they're continuing to fight it out on the run down into Valvoline now, the left-hander on that one. Cal, you can be whatever you want to be, dear sir. Come and hit me up at a DM. How old are you anyway, dear buddy?
Yeah, that's a really cool comment as well, I have to say. So thank you very much to Cal in the YouTube chat. So there you see the split. So 10 pros, 14 AMs, and a pretty good way to start the season, James, with a good grid to start things off here for round 1. Of course, we do know that some of the drivers that were with us in season 7 are not going to be able to take part in the full campaign, so might make a guest appearance here or there. But still, this battle for P3 in the AMs continue onwards, but Scotty Kostrick is starting to pull away a little bit from Harry 7. But 7, as he comes through Bit Curve now into Ad Van Borgen, which is a fast right-hander here at turn number 12. They're going to be flat on the floor, 6th gear. Well, they'll be shifting up to 6 before they go hard on the brakes into turns 13 and 14 here at the chicane. But they've got to be very careful of these curves. They're very, very high at points, and you can see Harry 7 just using as much of the track as he can without invalidating a lap time, and also getting a slowdown penalty at the same point.
Yeah, that's the last thing they want to happen at this moment in time. They don't want this situation. Harry 7 does not need a slowdown, partly due to the fact he's got to try and get it off while holding Wesley in behind him. That's never easy. And that's the thing, when you do get slowdowns, you know, you can take them off while you're racing, but it drops you away from the guy in front and brings in the guy in the rear because you're not going as fast. I think most times you have about 30 seconds to get rid of a slowdown, which can be anything from 2.5 to 4 seconds, give or take. You know, and you've just got to fight your way through as Nelthorpe's in the background in that Porsche there. He's having a go at Chris Haynes currently. But it's absolutely amazing that Nelthorpe's trying to go round here in through the right-hander of 4 curve. He's got that inside line that should free Nelthorpe to go forward, and he'll be absolutely on his way travelling there as well. But that brought in Sean Clark into this fight with Chris Haynes. Haynes trying to let Nelthorpe through has brought Clark into the battle. I'm 40, but I love you guys. Top tier like always. Thank you, buddy, as well. Why is it as old as me and you?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're more than welcome to join the gang. You know, just give James a shout, and we'll see if we can get you involved in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I mean, the way that Nelthorpe just aggressively used that curbing on the inside took a great big bite out of it. And again, you can use the curves to your advantage, but sometimes they can be a bit of a disadvantage. Sean Clark, as you rightly said, going through into Dunlop at turn 7, nearly had the opportunity to go through on Chris Haynes, who's brought a very, very brightly coloured McLaren to season 8 as they bump their way over the curbing through the first part of the chicane, through the right, then through the left. And again, you can see Nelthorpe, like we saw with Harry 7 just a moment ago, using that outside curbing. So, not, you know, letting the steering slightly open just to carry a few more kilometres an hour coming out of that 15th and final corner. As again, we see the battle of the Maccas, all 3 of them. Kostrick, 7 and Wesley going through into turn 1 at the Castrol S, now into Mercedes Arena at turns 2 and 3. And 7's trying to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, Scotty Kostrick. But Scotty's just doing a really good job of parking that car exactly where he needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had our first jump back to pit lane. And to be fair to this league, this is the first one throughout the whole race. nobody has been off apart from Marc Ossier in that Harrods livery. McLaren, unfortunately, has just gone and put that in the wall. But that is the only incident of the race. And that does equate for off tracks, that does equate for crashes, and even solo spins as well. So fair play to them for that. This league getting stronger and stronger and deserves the credit that it's got here. Sean Clark working his absolutely butt off in the background, trying to get this league up to where it needs to be. There was literally, I think it's like 34 or something crazy like that of sign-ups here over this season. So this is going to be absolutely amazing. Oh, Scotty. Oh, where you gone?
Oh, right. Now, has he... Now, that looks like a possible disconnect to me. Sindri, your hand's got to slow down. Also, we during the recruitment races, we have had a man who's competed in the championship before, Connor Pink. He is keeping a keen eye on proceedings in race control at the moment. So we are having live stewarding. Looks like there's a bit of a blip there for... There's Scotty. He's back on the circuit as here goes Mark Wesley, wheel to wheel with Harry Seven and Scotty Kostrick. Again, I think he's got a problem with his ping, possibly. So the Hamstead internet is not working on all four legs.
Yeah, the www dots are not quite dotting at this moment in time for Scotty Kostrick. I think somebody's running a microwave or something like that, causing him an issue on that one. I'll be running with the boys next week, stuck working, but at least I get to watch a mega broadcast. Boys, thank you, Jeremy as well on YouTube. There's also been a little mini me has also just joined the league as well. My young son has just joined, I believe, as well, so he'll be on track next week same time.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one when we go to Okayama, formerly known as TI Circuit Aida, the home of the Pacific Grand Prix for Formula One in 95 and 96. That'll be our venue in just 7 days' time, but we are 15 minutes of the way through this opening race, so a quarter of the way through on the countdown timer as we now hit 45 minutes. And Harry Seven carrying a lot of speed through the Michael Schumacher S's as they now head up towards the corner here.
Oh,
Sean Clark's
Scotty's
got to
got
slow
round.
down. But, now, was there a little bit of an assist from behind? Because Harry was carrying a lot of speed into that left-hander. So he sweeps to the outside. And yes, it was an assist. There was a little bit of a kiss from behind, a little bit of a love tap between the pair. So that means that Scotty Kostrick now drops all the way down to 18th. Sean Clark and Sindri Johansson both get a slowdown penalty. So it's going to be quite fascinating how the pit stops are going to work out, JP, because I'd probably say we might be about 10 to 12 minutes maybe away from hitting the time when the drivers will need to go in for a pit stop. So
big send.
Mark Wesley through at Castrol S at turn 1 gets through on a dive bomb and a half on Harry Seven. That was very neatly executed. So the incident between Scotty Kostrick and Harry Seven currently being under investigation as we speak. So whether there may be a penalty coming the way of the 123, and Harry Seven is going to now fire back with all salvos possible. He's going to get the inside line here, but Mark Wesley keeps it pinned round the outside.
Oh, I thought there was going to be contact. Sorry, I got a little bit, had to breathe in there a little bit, and I'm not even the one in the car. Right, so I just had a look. They got 60% fuel. So basically, they're going to go for about 35, maybe touching 40 minutes, and then they would have been looking at pit stops. That's generally the standard in the GT3s, and I honestly thought Harry Seven was going to go and hit him right in the side there, Jeremy. I'm not going to lie on that one with Mark Wesley. But yeah, very interesting battles as well. I've come away from Andy White and Harry Hartley-Price because they were playing follow my leader, but there's been a mistake somewhere because one of them's dropped back a little bit on that one. And Adam Hansen is still having a go at Sean Berry. The problem is as well, Sean Berry's Tinternet is having a little bit of a WW dot moment. So he's battling away with Berry is battling away with Douglas, I should say, which there they are. And then Hansen is having a ding-dong with Kenyon. And obviously we know Kenyon's in the AMS, but obviously I'm probably guessing there's going to be a promotions and demotions as the season goes on. Warning given to car number 123 for light contact. So that is Harry 7. It was light as well, but still not cool.
Still, though, if there's something like that and it's seen under the nose of Connor Pink, then he will look to investigate that. Of course, obviously, with sim racing nowadays, you can have so many different varied camera angles to see how the incident started, looking at data. So there's quite a lot of information that Connor has at his disposal. And again, Kenyon's looking for the opportunity to get through on Adam Hansen. This is the battle for P7. Overall, but more to the point that Mark Kenyon is still leading the AM classification. I do like the livery on that Lamborghini. It's got that sort of like turquoisey teal blue with the gold accents, including the alloys on the car. But he's really, really giving Hansen something to think about as they go through the Schumacher S's. Oh, and Kenyon clips the curbing and the gravel, so dirties the right side rear. That's not going to help him. I mean, he tried to apply the power. The car nearly had a bit of a tank slapper as Quinton Clumpert, second in the AM, 11th overall, has a slowdown penalty, but it's not going to affect him that much because Mark Wesley is about 5.3 seconds behind him at this moment in time. Wesley rounding out the top three in the AM classification. He's still he's started to pull away from Harry 7. James Moore from Upshift Esports in the Corvette, the season 7 AM champion, is about 1.3 seconds away from Harry 7. Of course, James ran in the BMW M4 last season and switched to the Corvette for season number 8, and he participated in all 4 of the recruitment races, but he is being closed in on by the Pro car, the number 112 of Grello, piloted by Simon Nelthorpe, who is about 0.3 of a second behind. And the Corvette does have the grunt in comparison with the Porsche behind him, but Nelthorpe dives out of the slipstream, but it's too early for that to happen going into T1.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to get him, but he's just got to be patient, I think, here for Nelthorpe. You can see Tim Cullimore and Corish are running side by side. Cullimore's not going to fight that one, which, yeah, kind of agree with at this moment in time because they've still got 40 minutes to go. But hopefully, from Cullimore's point of view, he's going to use Corish to pull him up to the Lambo of Kenyon. Now, if this stays where they are, and this is the thing, you can always have one good week, one bad week. You know, Kenyon might have a great Nurburgring, but he might suck in Okayama. And there's going to be a couple of, rounds, I would have thought, before they're going to look at it. But at the moment, Cullimore and Kenyon are doing a great job staying where they are. And they're doing that just by being consistent and not being silly. You saw Cullimore there. He's going to use Corish to try and pull himself up to Kenyon at the moment. And if he can do that successfully, then there's nothing that these guys, won't be able to achieve between them for Kenyon and Cullimore. They've just got to think smart. Like, Kenyon's got to sit there and think, if Corish comes up behind me and he's having a right old ding-dong, and he's going to go faster, do I need to fight him or do I let him go? So it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. Jeremy's saying, hoping the Acura is hooked up around Okayama. Well, Okayama is a Japanese circuit, and I would have thought the Acura might be mustered around there. I mean, the thing is that Okayama, a very, very different circuit in terms of its layout. Going through Moscow, going down the back straightaway. And then it's a bit of a roller coaster ride as well at Okayama. A bit like here at the Nurburgring. But, like you say, Tim Cullimore now starting to struggle a little bit behind Craig Corish. But I did see that Andy White did pick up a slowdown penalty as well in 4th position. And that's allowed DC Motorsports' Wayne Douglas to close on in. That's the battle for P4 on the road overall. And Wayne Douglas is starting to eat into that gap that White did have, which was about 1.4, 1.5 seconds. It's half that now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. And this is where he's got to be careful for White at the moment, because he's not just bringing Douglas into the equation. Douglas is bringing Berry with him. So that's the thing. It's not going to be one car coming at White. It will be 2. Douglas and Berry together. They're kind of almost joined at the hip. They followed each other all the way around for the first opening part of this lap. So there's going to be an interesting one how he's going to play this at the moment as well. Kenya's just got himself a slowdown. How is that going to affect him with Corish unless he can get it off? He's not in an ideal place because it's quite fast flowing section of the circuit. Might be able to get it off into the final chicane, of course, but that's going to be a different scenario altogether. You see, Wesley's got one, Nelthorpe's got one as well. So, yeah, very interesting indeed. I would not like the Acura around Okayama due to the fact of how slippery Okayama is. I'm not quite sure, Jeremy, if you get a chance to get a car choice, change it now, dear sir, because I don't like the Acura at some of these circuits, especially Okayama.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if Jeremy finds that it works for him, let him roll the dice and see what happens. It could be Snake Eyes or lucky number 7 as we will once again see this battle now. Yeah, Kenyon has lost out to Hansen through that slowdown penalty, and Corish is quite close behind him to the tune of about 4.5 to 5 tenths of a second. And then behind Nelthorpe, you've got Moore, Clark, and Kostrick battling away. That is for 14th overall. Nelthorpe, the lowest placed of the pro drivers. Now, also another thing that is customary with Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James GT3. Now, you might think that there'll be points based on the overall finishing order. There is not. What tends to happen is that we will have the same points given for the finishing order in the respective classes. So effectively we've had it where there's been 45 points for a win. That is in both classes respectively. Sam Berry has just got a slowdown penalty. And well, James Vardigans is now one of the drivers that is being lapped along with Mark Ozier, who we saw in the barriers just a few moments ago. And both Vardigans and Ozier did spend quite a bit of time in the pit lane. I mean, Mark Ozier was in the pits for nearly 2.25 minutes after the Harrods McLaren ended up in the barriers coming out of the Michael Schumacher S's. And there is going to be a dive into pit lane. I think that is going to be Vardigans possibly to keep out of the way of everyone that's battling. So this is going to be a moment here. This is for... Oh, Chris Haynes. Now this is coming through turn number 1, and he's over-rotated. Too many beans on the loud pedal, I'm afraid.
Want to take that brick off your right foot, dear sir, and feather that a little bit better, because unfortunately that was one of the reasons you did it. You dropped down into the dip, hit the throttle, and then the car unsettled, and it was good night, Vienna. Craig Corish now coming up the back of Kenyon. He's dropped Cullimore off, but as you can see further down, Moore, Clark and Kostrick are also locked in a battle. So there's quite a few battles taking shape at the moment. Pit stops are going to be coming in probably about the next 10 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on that as Moore has just... Oh, Scotty Kostrick is alongside us at the moment here for Sean Clark.
Yeah, and Clark's going to dive to the inside. Go on, Sean, get your elbows out. That's through at turn 3. Scotty's going to have the run through at 4. And, well, Sean did not really need... Well, he didn't really fight that because I think he knew that he just opened the corner up for Scotty Kostrick. And Kostrick just went through without a second invitation at all as they go through down out of turn number 6 at 4. And then it's a run down here into this sweeping complex into turn 7 at Dunlop before they go through 8 and 9, and they go through the elevation change at the Michael Schumacher S's. So you can see it's about trying to apply the power as early as you dare without, as you rightly said, with regards to Chris Haynes, not having a brick for a right foot on that throttle pedal.
Yeah,
but still... Yeah, that's the biggest problem you can have in these GT3 cars. One bit of overcorrection when it comes to, or a bit too much travel on that throttle pedal. Or even, as we've seen before, Martin Kenyon now has dived into pit lane with 27 minutes completed, so 33 to go, and he left it. Oh, that was a very late.
I don't know if he's going to get away with that. Did clear the white line. I'm not quite sure what the situation will be for Kenyon on that one. Gonna have to be careful. Gonna have to be careful indeed. Andy White now got Wayne Douglas tucked in behind him. So it's a Clarkson James and a DC Motorsport situation again. And we've seen that multiple times throughout the recruitment race. I think we're going to see it continuing for the rest of the season, to be honest with you. Kenyon, Clumpert, Wesley and Moore dropping down the order. I'll be interested to see if Clumpert does or Kenyon gets away with that. That was very close as these guys go side by side up into the Schumacher S's.
Yeah, and Harry Hartley-Price now picks up a slowdown penalty, but Wayne Douglas swarming all over the back of Andy White. Now through into the next left-hander, deep on the brakes, goes Douglas up the inside. He takes 4th position, and Andy White trying to hang it round the outside as they come out of bit cover. Now it's the run down into Advan. This is going to be over 130 plus miles an hour in 5th gear. Douglas to the inside, White to the outside. And White slots in behind. He was so close to Lily going into the back bumper of the DC Motorsport Mercedes as they go through the chicane at breakneck speed. But great job by Wayne Douglas to keep Andy White at bay for the moment, to now take 4th position as we're just over 60 seconds to go until we hit half time. And look who's closing in. Sam Berry is only 9/10 away from this battle as drivers start emerging from pit lane.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see people have stopped there. I think that was Joe Loudon stopped basically to try and stay out of the way. There's a couple of people that are lapped down, Loudon, Ossier and Vardigans, of course, but these two are having a nice little bit of a ding-dong, as is Sean Clark and Scotty Kostrick. They've been literally linked together from the moment the green flag has dropped, and are not quite leaving each other alone either. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how this develops here. The battle for 2nd and 3rd in the AMs, of course. So we're going to have to try and keep an eye on these at the same time as these battles start evolving. They're kind of giving us that Chinese fireworks impression where all of a sudden it will just go bang. And then I'll be here scrambling for the best battle because there's going to be about 3 or 4 of them happening.
Yep, so we are very fast approaching the halfway point of this race, the opening round out of 8, and oh no! Clark into the side of Kostrick, and Kostrick into a quarter spin, manages to catch the tail end of the McLaren, corrects it to point down the right way, and, well, we're going to have a look here. I mean, Sean came from way back where he was hard on the brakes here, and then dives to the inside. That was never going to work through at turn 4.
Oh, I'm just wondering... There was some, the way he moved, oh no, there was definitely contact. Has Sean given that position back? He did. That's going to keep him out of the eyes of our very own Stewart. 68 at car number 1, 68 at 1. I mean, I'm not really sure what you can do about that one. The position has been rescinded. I wouldn't want to see him getting a penalty for that. Adam Hansen jumps in pit lane. Chorus now goes through. So a few people coming in. They've got to make at least that half an hour mark to get this down to 1 stop. What they've done, Sean Clark, Scotty Kostrick, Simon Nelthorpe, all battling out in the middle of the field at this moment in time, of course.
Yeah, Adam Hansen currently trundling down pit lane. Sindre Johansson in the other Mustang, the number 9 car, has made up 5 spots from effectively 21st on the grid, rounds out the top. I think that is going to be the top 6 in the AM classification as Simon Nelthorpe now comes into pit lane in the 112 Porsche, the Canadian driver. Adam Hansen was in the on his marks, 18.6 seconds, not including transit time, which is probably give or take about 45 seconds, I would imagine, bearing in mind the pit lane speed limit here, JP. So no further action, as Sean Clark did give the position back. So you have, I think, yeah, that's one of the things about this league here for Tanso Racing Group and Clark St. James. It's always about fair play. That, you know, if you make a mistake, you sort of put your hands up, say, my bad, I'll give the position back. So that's the best course of action that Sean Clark has done on that particular occasion. But it's still not stopping him from once again going after Scotty Kostrick for what is effectively, at the moment, second in the AM classification. So we're on lap 17 as Hayden Young now has a 3.6 second lead over Peter Duke. Harry Hartley-Price rounds out the overall top three as Harry Seven has now got an 11.8 second gap over these two here. So Scotty Kostrick and Sean Clark doing their best to put one up on the other as they are now going to make their way through in towards Advan Borgen here at this fast right-hander. And then it's going to be hard on the brakes when they approach the chicane very, very shortly.
Yeah, these battles are going to keep materialising here as well. Wayne Douglas has just gone down and lost a couple of places. Well, due to the fact he this. Oh, and carry too much speed. Back end's going to say hello. There we go.
Oh, yep. Oh, dearie me. Andy White. Cat-like reflexes there by the Clark St. James, number 86. But he has got the 129 of fresh rubber behind him. Sam Berry, who we saw actually in the Mercedes, but he decided to switch to the BMW and looks to be a pretty good car in his capable hands at the moment, as this is the battle for P4 on the road. Wayne Douglas is now only about a second behind this battle as Sam Berry now gets a slow down penalty. Oh dear, that's probably by maybe exceeding track limits coming out of the Michael Schumacher S's. It is quite easy to do there as well, especially if you're carrying a big lick of speed.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem with that is everything he's done to get to the back of Andy White has just kind of gone out the window, because obviously he's now dropping back into the clutches of Douglas in behind him. So for Berry, he's got to kind of he has to minimize that regardless, because that's something that he doesn't want to keep getting. But he's also got to sit back now and think, right, how do I now get forward again? I'm going to have to settle back down into a rhythm, settle into a routine, because Wayne Douglas is only 6 tenths behind me.
Yeah, and at the moment, with just over 25 minutes on the counter remaining, the top 12 overall drivers, that's Hayden Young, Peter Duke, Harry Hartley-Price, Andy White, Sam Berry, Wayne Douglas, Craig Corrish, Tim Cullimore, Harry Seven, Scotty Kostrick, Sean Clark, and Gareth Newton. None of them have come into the pits, as we're going to see a replay here with Quinten Klumpert from the Netherlands closing in on Mark Wesley, turns it in, and the back end swaps with the front.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Klumpert now, he's right the way down in 18th place. 18th place for a man that was leading the AMs at one point. Absolutely bonkers. It goes to show how quickly this whole iRacing simulator thing can really turn on its head. Sindri Johansson has made a mistake. He's dropped down the order. James Moore is having a battle with Nelthorpe now. Nelthorpe trying to go forward, of course. And then we've got Chrissy Haynes, who's got Martin Kenyon in behind him. But at the moment, Haynes is yet to swap.
Yeah, very much agreed. Sean Clark and Gareth Newton now in the pit lane. So it's going to be interesting to see how long they stop on their marks. Sean Clark, 20.62. Gareth Newton, 20.07. Sam Berry, again, he's really flirting with track limits at the moment. He's just got another slowdown penalty. So it's not going too well for the man in the 129 BMW, because he was 6 tenths behind Andy White, as Peter Duke now pits from second on the road. So Sam Berry now finds himself 3 seconds behind Andy White after two track limits, two track limit penalties, so 2 slowdowns, and Sam Berry has thereby decided to go into the pit lane at the same point as Peter Duke. So Young, Hartley-Price, White and Douglas round out your top 4. It's going to be Corrish now up into 5th. He's yet to pit, neither is Cullimore. Seven and Kostrich, they're about 14 seconds apart. So this gives Harry Seven a little bit of an advantage over the 0-1 McLaren. And it could be quite interesting to see how hard Scotty Kostrick will push when Harry Seven decides to pit.
Yeah, Sam Berry's just come out. Chris Haynes has finally gone in. Knew that was coming. Quinten Klumpert is trying to get onto the back of Sean Clark. Moore's trying to clear Nelthorpe at this moment in time, as Vardigans is now pulling off a slowdown. Oh, no, I think he's trying to get out of the way, to be honest. There is Vardigans there as well from upshifting. Not having a good race. But Sean Clark currently with Clumper in behind him, trying to hold him back. Porsche versus a Mustang, 22 minutes to go. Pit stops are going to be done with these guys. It's now going to be a battle to run to the end. Sindri Johansson's in pit lane. Chris Haynes is in pit lane, sorry, at the same time as Sindra. So both of these guys now in pit lane. Who's going to come out on top? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, 22 minutes until we get to the checkered flag. Fastest lap of the race overall, Peter Duke, 1:54.011. Hayden Young now pits from the race lead. So will the likes of Hartley Price, White, Douglas, Corish, et al. Dive into the pit lane to do the same? Hartley Price now in pit lane, White now in pit lane. Here come the flood of cars coming into the pits. Wayne Douglas now pits as well on lap 20. On the conclusion of lap 20 as we go on to lap 21 of this race. Craig Corish, is he going to go in the pit lane? Yes, he will. Tim Cullimore and Harry Seven, who is leading the AM classification. He's making his way into the chicane as we speak, and he's going to dive into pit lane. So Scotty Kostrick, he's now going to be having to push like crazy to close that gap as much as possible.
Peter Duke is going to gain, sorry Alex, Peter Duke is going to gain everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and has put himself in second place at the moment for Peter Duke. Hartley Price is not that far behind him. White's coming in behind him as well. And now there's Wayne Douglas going full berries, and there is, funny enough, Sam Berry's also trying to go full berries. So fair play to him. Cullimore's on his way out. Hanson's on his way out. Kenyon's taken back the lead in the pros with Harry Seven. Didn't get out in time. Scotty Kostrick is in pit lane, and Mark Wesley should also look possibly at getting Scotty Kostrick, but Seven should hold on to second place.
Yeah, so Scotty Kostrick currently on his marks in the pit lane. 16.7 seconds was how long Harry Seven was on his mark. Scotty Kostrick, nearly 19.3 seconds for the 01 McLaren, and that is going to put him about 9 seconds behind Mark Wesley. So Kenyon leads in AM ahead of Seven and Wesley, Young, Duke, and Hartley Price. But yeah, masterstroke there by Peter Duke. He really pushed on that outlap after jumping into pit lane. But Hayden Young with the 16.43 second pit stop, not including transit time down the pit lane itself, leads by nearly 12 seconds. We've got 19 and a half minutes to go. And the battle here, it is Mustang versus Mercedes. Adam Hansen versus Tim Cullimore. And they've got Martin Kenyon, the AM class leader, breathing down their exhaust pipes as they now will head very shortly down into Advan here at turn number 12 at high speed. And when you think about it, you have 3 naturally aspirated vehicles. 5.2 litre V8s under the hood of the Mustang, 6.3 litre naturally aspirated V8s under the bonnet of the Mercedes, and a naturally aspirated 5.2 litre V10 mid-mounted on that Lamborghini, as Cullimore is really now starting to push like crazy, but he pushes a little bit too wide coming out of the final corner and kicks up the gravel, as does Kenyon, who's right in his wheel tracks down the start-finish straight, heading into turn 1. It's down the dip they go, and it's hard on the brakes. The nose of all 3 cars dives down as they hit the brakes hard, but at the moment, it is still Hansen that's leading the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th overall. Yeah,
he's still having a good old go here. Kenyon's still leading the AM. 7 in behind that Wesley. Clark's in his own little battle again with Clumper. Clumper's cleared him, of course. Now Clark's trying to go after him, but Kenyon's got a decision to make. Does he have a go at Cullimore? Does he have a go at Hansen? Well, time's going to tell here as well. Great pace through the field. Nice cleaning racing with all those close gaps. That's the thing. We've had a lot of this all the way through this. We had no incident either, which was quite surprising. Basically, right the way through to lap number 6, there was no dramas for anybody. And this is the thing. If you want to get yourself involved, you can. Discord link down in the description below, and come and drive in some GT3s because it's a great season ahead.
Yes, indeed. And still to the point of, you could just see now with 17.5 minutes to go. Culliver's just got a slow down penalty, and that is going to allow Kenyon to dive through. And Kenyon, Cullimore, I think, has just decided to slow down, serve that penalty. And Kenyon now goes back up into ninth position, where we've seen him for the majority of this race here, JP. But there's a little bit of clear air between Kenyon and Hansen. They've been battling all the while throughout the duration of this race with 17 minutes to go. Can Mark Kenyon put himself P8 by the check-in? It's going to be a tall order, but you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to give it a go.
Yeah, he's going to have a good old try as Kenyon at this moment in time. Cullimore there, 9th and 10th. And they're going to be able to go and have a good, nice little scrap. You just see Clark and Clumpert come back together. They're going on further down at the moment. So Clark is going to have a go at Clumpert. Clumpert in the Mustang, Clark in the Porsche. Porsche is behind that Newton and Nelthorpe, not having a great race. Nelthorpe did make some climbs up, but then, of course, has had some issues out it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all of these battles start coming back together, probably with about 10 minutes to go. So keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, so the big thing is the battle for P3 is really starting to heat up, because you've got Harry Hartley-Price being chased down by Andy White and Wayne Douglas, the trio covered by about 1.5 seconds at the moment. You can see there that just behind Scotty Kostrick, there is Quentin Clumpert from the Netherlands. Looked to dive up the inside through at T1, but the Dutchman in the Mustang unable to get through. This is providing a window of opportunity for the Porsche of Sean Clark to maybe stick his nose up the inside of the number 47, the Dutchman in the Ford Mustang. And here goes Sean Clark. He looked for the move there, but Clumpert was very quick to close that off through turn 4.
Yeah,
very quick.
I think Clark learned his lesson after the incident he had with Kostrick at exactly the same corner. I can understand why he's going for it, because the gap is left open. There's a couple of corners that you can take different lines in, but unfortunately does leave the door open. It's almost like turn 1 at Coda. You can either tighten it up or keep it wide open, but you always do chance somebody coming up the inside, which is what we had there. Unfortunately for Clark, he's made that move on the inside and now dropped back away from Clumpert, who's going to be able to get away if he can. But Clumpert's got his own problems in Kostrick at the moment, so these guys really mixing it up currently.
Yeah, and the battles are going to be fast and frantic over the next 14 3/4 minutes, because nothing is yet set in stone. There's still pages of this story here at round 1 out of 8 to be written at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. Of course, for those that enjoy their GT3 racing, you might have caught the penultimate round of the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup, which, funnily enough, happened at this very circuit this past Sunday. So it is, like you say, it is a circuit that some people do like, some people don't like. I will be honest with you, as much as I love the Grand Prix circuit, Nords just has that different allure about it.
Nords is so much better on that one. It's Clumpert. Is he going to make the move? Nope, gets covered off in that McLaren by Kostrick. One man that is looking very, very racy at this moment in time is Mr. Wayne Douglas, who's sitting in behind Andy White at the moment. So Andy's going to have a bit of a battle on his hands here. Try and hold on to this, I think, because Douglas is coming at him thick and fast.
Yeah, and, well, unfortunately, one of our drivers, Mr. West, down in 22nd, has just been given a slowdown penalty, which is just served, and that, back marker traffic. That is not what, and there's a blinking Andy White there. Wayne Douglas to the inside at the final corner. Oh, my goodness me. Well, Wayne Douglas taking perfect advantage of that. That's Joel Loudon that was just in front of them in 21st position, whereas Sean Clark and Quentin Clumpert are still battling away tooth and nail over 14th position overall. That's for P5 in the AMS, but Wayne Douglas, ever the opportunist, saw Joel Loudon in front, saw Andy White getting held up, and he went, right, coming through.
Yeah, hold my beer, and off he went. Better play to him as well. I think anybody who takes advantage of a back marker is a move, and that thing looking forward. Nurb can never be Nords, but it's still a great circuit. It is, but I still think I prefer Nords compared to the stadium. As like I said to Alex earlier on, I'm stuck in the stadium, but I'm not going to say I'm good, but I'm manageable where I don't crash the car in Nords. So I think I prefer that part of the circuit as well, as Andy White has dropped back about a second. However, Tim Cullimore got Kenyan company.
Yeah. So this is the battle for P9 overall. So Kenyan, who has again just showcased his class in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo, and he's trying to pull a gap over Tim Cullimore, which now stretches to around about close to half a second as they come through into Dunlop at turn 7. Now it's powering up the hill through the left and then the right here at the Schumacher S's. Cullimore versus Kenyan, Lamborghini versus Mercedes as we head into the final 11.5 minutes. And still, well, there's one person we haven't really been talking about that much tonight, James, and that is Hayden Young, who has got a 13-second advantage over Peter Duke. He took pole position by nearly 0.6 of a second, and he's on course to win this thing by double digits in terms of seconds before the decimal point.
Yeah, he's got his new steering wheel out and he's got his new car and he's absolutely flying, is Young. He's been out in front since the green and has never looked back, to be honest. Even when his pit stops, he went in, got it done, and that's about it. But even his pit lane time was 4 seconds quicker than Peter Duke. So that literally can say it all at the same time. So Peter Duke's lost 4 seconds just in the pit lane. That's pit lane time. You know, his pit stop was about 3.2 seconds slower, Peter Duke. So it's a lot of time within that pit stop that brought him out right in front of Harry Hartley-Price. Now Hartley-Price is going to have a hands full trying to close him down.
Yep, and that gap is now less than 0.9 of a second. And right, car 22 has just been given the black flag for incident limit, and that is Paul West, the pride of Wales, in the number 22 McLaren 720S GT3 Evo. He's going to have to do the trundle of shame down the pit lane. But Hartley-Price is gathering pace. And last time round, he was over 0.3 of a second quicker than Peter Duke. And I wouldn't be at all surprised. He's got the fog lights on the Mercedes. Maybe a flash of the headlights might be coming very, very shortly when he gets right up the rear diffuser of the 177 DC Motorsport car in front of him as they head down in towards the chicane, the Vidal chicane, and then into Coca-Cola corner here at turn number 15. I think Hartley-Price is going to try and throw everything bar the kitchen sink unless he absolutely needs to try and get one up on Peter Duke. And these two, we've seen them battle before, all the way through the recruitment races and, of course, last season in Season 7.
Oh, yeah, just throw a Hail Mary. Clumpert and Clark are throwing Hail Marys at each other. They have swapped places a heck of a lot of times. I'm counting 3, and that's only... Oh, no. They were having such a good battle. Swapping places backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Oh, so fortunately, that put the end to that battle. So that sucks. But now Sean Clark's going to have to go with Scotty Kostrick instead.
Yep, as Paul West now serves his drive-through penalty. And here we go. A little bit of a mistake coming out of the top of the corner, top of turn 11 by Scotty Kostrick. And coming through Advan, Sean Clark having a good run on him as they're going through into the Vidal chicane once again here on lap number 26. We're on to lap 27 with well, Hayden Young's already 70% of the way through lap 27 as we speak. So probably I would say maybe another 4 laps and then we'll be at the checkered. To be honest with you, I mean, they're running on a 1:54, so maybe 4, maybe 5 laps at a push, but Sean Clark doing what he can to try and get through on Scotty Kostrick for that P4 place, but a little bit of a mistake. He might have just over-corrected the steering there, coming through turn 1 and heading into the left at turn 2. Meantime, Harry Hartley-Price is right in the wheel tracks of Peter Duke as they go into the Vidal chicane here at turns 13 and 14, and if Hartley-Price measures correctly, he might get a good run coming out of the Coca-Cola corner here through at turn number 15. He's less than a car length behind the 177 DC Motorsport car. Now the battle for second position starts in earnest here with 7.5 minutes to go as we start lap 28. And Hartley Price, is he going to go late on the brakes? He's going to try and do what he can, but at this particular occasion, Peter Duke was wise to it. Harry Hartley Price did not get enough of a slipstream down that start-finish straight to late send it up the inside through into the Castrol S at turn 1. Peter Duke covered it off rather nicely. Paul West, in the meantime, after the trundle of shame down the pit lane, he got a slow-down penalty even further for his troubles. So insult to injury there for the man from Wales in the 22 McLaren.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately for him, he's going to have to just take this one on the chin. You know, that's about as much as he's going to be able to do here. But these guys continue to fight. Harry Hartley Price on the rundown into the Coca-Cola, or the Dunlop curve, I should say, sorry. And they're going to continue this fight all the way to the end of this race. I don't think this is ever going to let off. But the only thing is as well, it depends if Douglas gets onto the back here, because if he can, that's a DC Motorsport bit of help he's going to have.
Yeah, and they do say that there is always strength by numbers. We rode on board with Harry Hartley Price, who was our runner-up in Season 7 in the Pro Class, was the Season 6 champion. So looking to, again, this season, try and battle for the top prize. Now they go through in towards the chicane once again. Here on lap number 28 as Hayden Young starts us on lap 29. Harry Hartley Price nearly clipping the grass coming out of turn number 14 at the Vidal chicane. But let's see what the closing rate is. That looks a little bit closer this time for the number 98 from Clark St. James Motorsport. Gap is now 2/10 and closing. He's pulling to the inside. He might have an opportunity to go for it, but still, he needs to be about 1.5 behind Peter Duke for that late centre work here at turn 1. And Duke just seems to be equaling him on getting the traction out of the final corner at the right spot at the same time as when Harry Hartley Price decides to gun the throttle pedal and give it the berries.
Yeah, that's the thing for him. He's trying that different line going down into turn 1, but he's got to be careful because Duke is, going to come across at him and take his nose off without any hesitation. So for Hartley Price, he's got to be a little bit mindful of what he's doing here, because otherwise both of their races are going to be done, and that's going to be the end of it. And apart from somebody giving to place back, that can only be Price giving it back to Duke, because let's be honest, if Douglas gets a touch like that, he ain't going to hand back any places. He's going to just go and say, thank you very much, gentlemen. That's your own fault. I'm off. So, Hartley Price has got to be a little bit mindful there as well. Jeremy in YouTube chat. Get him, Harry. Get him.
Give it the beans.
Yeah.
Well, Sindre Johansson, who's now got a survey drive-through penalty, he's just been black flagged, keeps out of the way. So Peter Duke was very quickly on the flashes. So Sindre Johansson, the man from Norway, as if to say, just get out of the way. We're closing in. We've had a moment for Gareth Newton. He's dropped behind James Moore. But still, this battle here with 4 minutes to go, we are now on to lap 30. So I would imagine it was pretty much on the 4-minute mark. And with the fact that Hayden Young is doing 155s, that is going to effectively give us 3 laps.
Douglas Douglas
got a black flag. Incident limit reached for the number 12. Oh dear, Wade Douglas has gone wrong at the wrong time in this race, where he could have been in contention for a podium. The black flag is going to make him tumble down the order quite substantially as Harry Hartley Price goes on the offensive towards Peter Duke. Sindre Johansson now pulls into pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. But this battle here is going to be right up until the checkered. Oh, Peter Duke goes very, very wide, applying the power coming out of turn 4. This could be the opportunity that Harry Hartley Price needs as they go through into turn 5. Now into the right-hander here at Ford at 6. And then it's the short run at full speed, at full throttle, down in towards Dunlop here at 7. And Hartley Price unable to capitalise at the moment, but a slight lapse of concentration, a slight unforced error from Peter Duke is now given the window of opportunity, the motivation. Harry Hartley-Price is right with him as they go through the Schumacher S's here on lap number 30. And he's right with him, wheel to wheel in terms of... and Wayne Douglas has got a black flag and a slowdown penalty to boot. But Harry Hartley-Price is throwing everything, including the cupboards, including the cutlery, and it could be very shortly the kitchen sink here at Peter Duke. They go through into Advan for what could be the second from last time of this race, and Hartley-Price has got to throw everything at the 177 from DC Motorsport in the dying stages.
Yeah, he's got to try and get him now as well. Coming into the final corner through Coca-Cola they go. Hartley-Price now tucked in right behind him. It's going to be a run down into turn one. Watch the line of Peter Duke. Watch the line of Hartley-Price. I don't think he's close enough at the moment. I am going to be totally honest. I think he needs to be a little bit closer here. He's not going to be able to get him going down into Hagen as well. The first corner on this racetrack. Dip down again. Douglas is still holding a black flag. You've got to get it off before the end, mate. You've got to go in. Otherwise, you're going to literally suffer a 40-second penalty smack bang at the end of the race that's going to drop you even further down the order. So Douglas, for me, take it on the chin, son. Get that drive-through done.
Yeah, Sindri Johansson serving another drive-through penalty. Again, 2 in 3 laps. So Hartley-Price, Connor Pink, including the covers, caught me there. Yeah, well, there you go, mate. When a commentator's in full flow, expect the unexpected. So I said cupboards, I said cutlery and kitchen sink. So there we go. All for your entertainment, Mr. Pink. But here we go out of turn 7 again. Now, Hartley-Price has really got to put the frighteners on Peter Duke because we are counting down. It's 38 seconds. Hayden Young, I think, will bring us on to one more lap after this. So we will go on to our 32nd lap as we run on board with the number 4 McLaren from the UK. Going to go into the Vidal chicane here at turns 13 and 14. 20 seconds. Yeah, we are going to get one more lap after this. So, and he is leading by nearly 14 seconds. The gap was about 13 seconds. They came out of the pit stop phases. But now it's going to be 2 laps. Last lap is underway. Hayden Young has led every single lap from pole position. And he's got a comfortable margin just to bring the car home. Meantime, Wayne Douglas serves his black flag penalty, which is a drive-through down in the pit lane. And that is going to probably put him, I would say, maybe towards the bottom of the top 9 because Andy White has got past. Sam Berry is now going to get through on him. And then you look at Craig Corish, Adam Hansen and Tim Cullimore. Yeah, Corish is going to get past him. He's going to be down in 9th, maybe 10th by the time he comes out of pit lane. And that's not exactly what he wanted. The timer has hit 0 by the by. And Douglas, oh, did he miscalculate on fuel possibly?
He can't do that.
No, because that's that's a circumvention of the drive-through penalty.
Yeah,
so
he cannot do that.
That's a black flag. That's a black flag.
Yeah, straight back into pit lane again. He's still going to carry the penalty because he still has got to go and do a drive-through. So unfortunately for Wayne Douglas, right at the end of the race, it has all just gone Pete Tong for him. If there's any time to throw your toys out the pram for Douglas, well, that will be it. So let's just put it that way. Wayne Douglas is not going to be happy with himself. He's not going to be happy with what's just gone on because he's just gone and messed up his own drive-through by stopping in pit lane. Hayden Young's got one more run to do. He's got to go through NGK and out the other side, but these guys have got about a couple of corners behind him. Try and sort this one out. This is where it's going to get close. Into Bogan they go. Is it going to be a send up into NGK? Hayden Young coming around the corner. Is he going to get it done? He is going to take the championship win, the final race win here, Alex. But it's here where the battle is going to commence.
So, can Hartley-Price put the frighteners on Peter Duke? The answer looks to be a definitive no, but it's the run out of the final corner. Young wins it by 13.1 seconds. Peter Duke edges out Harry Hartley-Price by exactly 2/10 on the nose as they come across the line. Andy White is going to take P3. Meantime, Martin Kenyon, who's been punching above AM class weights in this opening race out of 8. He is currently, well, he's just served a slowdown penalty, but that is not going to hurt him in any way, shape or form, because he is going to win by an even bigger margin than Hayden Young did in the pro class. The Lamborghini Huracan of the man from the UK, even though he's accidentally activated the wipers. The 48 comes out of the final corner. Hayden Young wins in pro, and it's Martin Kenyon in the 48 Lamborghini that wins here on German soil in the AMS. We've still got a few more drivers to come across the line. And there is Quinten Klumpert, the man from the Netherlands, who at one point was leading the class overall. And it was even running as high as the top 3. So Harry Seven has crossed the line. He's going to take P10. That's second in the AM classification. Mark Wesley, very shortly, he will come across the line and he will take P3 in the McLaren, the number 88. Scotty Kostrick will have to wait for 7 days to Okayama to maybe go for a victory. He's going to take P4. And Quinten Klumpert on his season, TRG GT3 debut, will take P5 and edges out Simon Nelthorpe in Grello by just under a quarter of a second at the flag. James Moore, the season 7 AM champion, rounds out the top 15, 6th in AM, and finishes ahead of Gareth Newton. Sean Clark, 17th, and that will be P8 in AM. And Chris Haynes, well, it went very, very wrong for the man in the 97 McLaren. He finishes 18th, and more importantly, that's going to be P9 in the class with Joel Loudon and Paul West rounding out the top 20. So Hayden Young takes it after 32 laps of racing here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. Peter Duke in P2. Harry Hartley-Price rounds out the top 3. It was a rush to the line between second and third. Andy White and Sam Berry round out your top 5 ahead of Craig Corish, Adam Hansen and Tim Collingwood rounding out the top 8 in terms of the pro classification. Martin Kenyon and Harry Severed round out the top 10 and were 1-2 in AM ahead of Mark Wesley. Scott Kostrick, Quinten Klumpert on his debut in the championship rounds out the top 5 in AM, 13th overall. Simon Nelthorpe 14th ahead of James Moore, who rounds out the top 15. Gareth Newton, Sean Clark, Chris Haynes, Joel Loudon and Paul West round out your top 20. Mark Ozier, James Vardigans and Sindre Johansson round out the 24 runners and riders here at the Nürburgring. So the on-track action concludes for this opening round of the season. And we have got time for some interviews, and more to the point, we have got our race winner. Let's bring him in. Lights out to checkered flag, and he takes the opening win overall this season. It's the number 4 of Hayden Young. Hayden, congratulations, first of all. Mega race, buddy.
We'll take that.
How are you feeling after that one?
Yeah, a bit warm, that one. I didn't expect to be that quick, but I knew I had the pace. But thought I'd be with Peter Duke and Andy White and all them. But yeah, I didn't expect that. That was great.
Well, first of all, let's talk about qualifying. You hooked it up. You took pole off of Peter by over 5.5 tenths of a second, and that's not easy to do.
Yeah,
this car seems to be a weapon in your hands, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling JP yesterday, I've got a new wheel as well. So it's all of it. It's all of it. I think it's just I feel good at the minute. It's just all seems to be coming together. But yeah, the qualifying, I don't know where I pulled that from. I'll be honest. It just happened. It just happened.
Well, quick question. What wheel did you go for?
I've gone from the 8 Nm CSLDD to the 18 Nm Sim Magic Evo Pro.
Yeah, well, so basically, instead of just changing the car to the McLaren, he went and spent 600 quid or whatever it was on a wheel that did absolutely no difference apart from picking a better car.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but I think it's all of it. It feels great. My arms are dropping off, but it feels great.
Poor excuse.
Well, yeah, poor excuse. Well, I mean, besides all that, straight away, you must be pretty happy with that first race of the season. But the focus now is going to switch to Okayama. Very different circuit, very tight. Do you think your arm strength is going to cope with 18 Newton meters at Okayama next week?
Yeah, I quite like Okayama. It's not too bad. Yeah, I think won the first one, so I think I'm just going to concentrate on being quite consistent. I genuinely am consistent. You know, if I finish there, I usually finish around there. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm well happy with that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, listen, Hayden, congratulations on the win. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
No doubt my parents are watching. I'll shout out to them, everyone else, and you too. Absolute cracking job, as normal.
That Melanie?
Brilliant.
Yes, Mum's Mal, yeah.
Well, she's made me laugh earlier on a YouTube as well. She said, keep going, Hayden, you're doing a really well.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Oh, that wheel gag is going to be going on all season long, mate. Don't you worry about that. But well done tonight, Hayden, and we'll see you next week for round 2 at Okayama, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Right, okay. Let's bring in the man that narrowly edged out Harry Hartley Prize for P2 in the Pro class. Let's bring in DC Motorsports Peter Duke. Peter, good
Hi,
evening.
Alex. How are you keeping?
Not too bad, not too bad. Myself and James were having heart palpitations because Harry was giving you a bit of a fright in the last 5 to 8 minutes of that race, wasn't he?
You were having heart palpitations because in the recruitment races, my car and Harry's car was like a magnet. And with a few touches and stuff, and I knew Harry wouldn't send it, because it's his first race of the season. But I just had enough to keep in front of him. There's parts of the track I was quicker, parts of the track he was quicker, but I put about 6 litres too much fuel in. So I was slightly heavy, and I think that made a difference. But listen, P2, first race of the season, you can't win it in the first race, but you can certainly put yourself down the pecking order if you make a silly mistake.
Exactly, as they say, consistency wins you a championship.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hayden was on a completely different planet. I mean, he was doing really well, as the running joke is now going. Now that he's got his 18 Newton meters on his sim rig these days. But it was quite interesting how much the difference was between yourself and him in terms of qualifying, because he beat you by, I think it was like just over 5.5 tenths of a second.
Yeah.
It was like he was just on a completely different planet.
It just seemed the McLaren had great traction out of the slower corners, but Hayden, he was flying. I think in practice it was 2.5 tenths off him, but I said if I can get in behind him and just keep, I was aiming for P, in top 3, for the first race of the season. So Wayne was going well at one stage, and I think he maybe got a penalty, knocked him back a bit. But no, it was good to see the DC Motorsport cars up there. With a wee rivalry with the Clark St. Jean guys, and now Hayden's in the mix. So, but just want to congratulate Hayden for a great race. He was super quick tonight.
Well, one final question, Peter. Thoughts about Okayama in 7 days' time? Very different circuit to the Nurburgring, even tighter than what this particular circuit has to offer.
Oh, it's one of the smallest on in iRacing, I think, and it's just going to be. It's going to be fun for you guys commentating on it, because it's just so tight and there's nowhere really to pass, and it'll be nose to tail. Qualifying, I think, will be really tight due to the short lap time. But I'll just have to get on it during the week and see how the mark handles around it. But yeah, looking forward to it. Nice start to the season, and good night.
Brilliant. Peter, good to hear from you, buddy. We'll see you next week for round 2.
Yes, thanks again.
Well, that really wraps up all the time that we've actually got here tonight, folks. But JP, final thoughts before we close things up here from the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit for round 1.
Well, mate, this was an absolute banger. If it's got anything to go forward for, well, we're going to be looking forward to it as well.
Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us for the opening round of the Tanso Racing Group Clark St. James GT3 Championship. Season 8, round 1 is in the books. We're very much underway. So join us, same place, same time, as we head to a place formerly known as TI Circuit Aida, now known as Okayama, for round 2 for a 60-minute race in GT3s. So a big thank you to you all for watching. A big thank you for everyone that's been involved in the YouTube chat. And on behalf of myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and James Parfitt, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. We'll see you next time. Take care. Good night.